Okay, so I get about that close, and then I'm going to get rid of the angle on the rim. I'm going to make the rim totally flat so that it's not quite so obvious when you look at it. So obviously I make the rim narrow just because it makes this part easier to do. And the goal is that this is my chance to sweeten up the rim and get it exactly how I want. So there we go. Hey, thanks, man. Okay. All right. Switch more from here. Okay, good. Ready to go back to hollowing. So I've already hollowed about half with the spoons, maybe a little more than half. This is either 6 or 7, I can't remember. And so once I do that phase, now I'm going to go around and build out to that inner rim. And then I'm going to very carefully go and define that inner rim. And there we go. And I'm not trying to make it perfectly even all the way around. That's a lot harder to do. It's easier to just have it be a nice taper from fatter at the tip to narrower at the sides to slightly thicker back here again. And once I get the rim the way I like it, then I'll work on hollowing the middle, and I'll stay away from the rim. Okay. So now I have the rim basically how I want it. You can see how it's fatter at the tip. And it needs a little smoothing there. There we go. Okay, now I've got the rim the way I want it. Hey, Dano. And I'm going to work on hollowing the center of the bowl. Like that. And you can see how I come down and then I swirl across the grain to exit out of that cut. So I come down and I swirl across the grain at the base of the spoon to get out of that cut. Now I still have this side here. That side's trickier. I come down with the tip of the knife blade. And again, I'm going right up to that rim that I cut, but I'm trying not to exceed it. And for this back quadrant here, I want to come straight down from the rim. And depending on your circumstance, that might clean it up enough. Depends on the piece of wood and how the grain is flowing, and it also depends on the sharpness of your knife. Obviously, the sharper your knife is, and the more well-behaved the wood is, the cleaner you can get it to look. There we go. Good. Any questions so far, guys? Hey, Tucker. So far, it's looking like I'm on target to do these 10 spoons in about 6 or 7 hours of work, which would be ridiculous. Typically, if I did them one at a time, it would be about 10 or 11 hours of work. Now the question is, how do I feel tomorrow? Right now, I'm feeling pretty good, though, I have to say. So this might be a good way forward for me to be more productive. All right, putting the spoon in my mouth right then just gave me feedback that I'm basically there. I'm at the depth I want. Curvature feels good. I'm just trying to clean up this little spot a little bit. And then I'm just going to cut the inner chamfer, just like that. Voila. And stick it in the bag. Next one. Let's do one of these. What do I think sped you up the most? Do you mean in general, Dano, or today? Whew. Whew. Okay. Today, doing them all in stages. I mean, I think the fact that I am just a better carver now means that I can take advantage of production carving in a way that didn't feel like there was an advantage before. The last time I tried it, I don't think I was as good at locking in each step of the stage and just sort of automatically locking into that piece of wood. So it was really, there was a real advantage to getting in the flow with a particular spoon because it would help me stay on target with what that particular piece of wood needed. And I think I've just reached a point where I don't need that. It just comes so naturally now. And probably what has helped with that has been doing all these live sessions where I'm talking and carving at the same time. So I'm always a little bit distracted and I'm just kind of on autopilot. So honestly, probably the autopilot that this has created has been helpful. And then today in particular, I don't know. I mean, it probably has helped that I sort of feel like, oh, let's see how much I can do. I wasn't originally I didn't go into today thinking that I was going to do them in this method as a batch. I went into today thinking I was going to do one at a time. And then in the beginning of the morning, I was like, well, I need to share this process for the VAC. Like if I do it in a batch, then it has these advantages, you know, of showing the process in this way. And I thought I'd give it a go, but I definitely went into today sort of like pumped up to see if I could carve 10 spoons in a day. And now it's looking like I'm going to be able to do that no problem. I'm trying to think if muscle memory is the key. I'm not sure I would describe it as muscle memory. I think I would describe it as being really clear about my process, about what matters and what doesn't, and how far I'm going to take each step. That just makes it super easy to then go into each step and know exactly when to stop. And honestly, probably having that be clear and knowing when to stop has helped me not dither on some of these spoons that I otherwise might have dithered on more. Now, that's not to say that I haven't experimented. I've certainly tried these aren't cookie cutter spoons I'm carving, but yeah. I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure I have a good answer yet. I think I'm just still kind of in awe that I can do it, you know? Alright, so this eater needs to be a little bit longer. The trick with pocket spoons is that when they don't have a shoulder to define them, it's easy to let the spoon bowl get out of hand and get all kinds of weirdly shaped. There we go. Yeah. Getting close. Yeah, there we go. Thought someone pulled in. Yeah, this grain is pretty nice. It's this grain orientation is always kind of the trickiest because of the direction you need to carve it to get it really smooth at the end. Everything kind of needs to flow down into that bullseye, which, especially if the bullseye is lopsided, means that your cuts need to be a little lopsided. Right? If by lopsided I mean off center. But yeah. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, there's that one. And again, I'm keeping them bagged up. That's super important. Keeping them bagged up. That was number 7. I've got 2 more to go. We're in good shape here. And then I just need to thin the backs of the bowls, which will take a while on the scoops. But everything else should be pretty easy. And do chamfers and burnishing. grain in this one is weird. This whole bit in here is all kinds of weird. So, the process carving these bowls is always to get a little bit in the middle, then trim up the rim, and then trim up the inner rim, and then get the depth just right. Been using your trick to wet the piece you're working on. Oh yeah, it works great, doesn't it? Particularly as it gets warmer outside, you just like leave it out in the sun, and that'll work great. Okay. Okay. That was a bit trickier than the others. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Paint the counter.
Hi, sorry.
It does.
I just review your process.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, you really fix it?
Which matte spoon knives is that one? This is the Monadnock, which is the do-it-all one that everyone should have. It's the only one I use. Alright. Almost ready. Slide.